Answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First.
Yeah.
Jack Paul, it's sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat.
Well, we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul.
It is, but it's not unaired.
To feel what it's like to be in there with a big, strong, world-class heavyweight before the day, because I don't want him to get hit with the first jab and it's a whole new sensation. So, and you never know. You know, I think there's some game plans that he could cause a bit of trouble.
Alexander Usyk has delivered a surprising prediction regarding the upcoming Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul showdown. He emphasized the massive gap in pedigree, noting that Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist, while Jake Paul is largely a showman and YouTube personality. Usyk compared the matchup to a Rolls-Royce going up against a Fiat, highlighting just how one-sided he believes the contest will be.
You're correct. If Anthony Joshua won, Anthony killed this guy. Listen, a lot of questions, blah blah blah. Only one my answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First.
Yeah.
Jack Paul, it's sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. Yeah, I'm not. Типа я не обзываюсь.
I'm have nothing bad in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want fight with Jake Paul and.
Usyk went on to stress the dramatic difference in skill and experience between the two fighters. Still, he added that he would pray for Jake Paul ahead of the highly anticipated bout. As a close friend and supporter of Joshua, Usyk expressed confidence in AJ's abilities and praised his disciplined preparation. Joshua has reportedly been sharpening both offense and defense under the guidance of veteran coaches, blending technical drills, strength training, and strategic sparring specifically designed to counter Jake Paul's style. Analysts note that even if Joshua holds back his full power, his elite technique alone presents a massive challenge for anyone who steps into the ring with him.
Reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul.
It is, but it's not unaired. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, it's the old Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and doing little bits together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm travelling, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine, where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously, after the Usyk fight, he'd come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition
Well, yeah,
job.
Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helenius, he had Otto Wallin, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where what you've just said then, Spencer, like match him right. I felt he was matched right with Dubois. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I was wrong on that and I was proved wrong, but I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board. And where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to getting out and get back to winning ways is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8 rounders. Yeah. He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such a commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he? Yeah. He always will be in shape. He's never ever not been.
But it's not about his physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Alexander Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted out by Deontay Wilder,
Chael Sonnen, retired MMA fighter and well-known analyst, offered a broader perspective on what this fight means for the sport. He stated that Jake Paul's critics will finally see the level of opposition he now faces by stepping in with a professional of Joshua's caliber. According to Sonnen, this matchup is more than entertainment. It's a measurement of credibility for crossover boxing. The outcome will influence how fans view these hybrid matchups and could reshape expectations for what truly counts as a legitimate test in modern boxing.
Courage that it takes for Jake Paul to do this, as well as for Joshua. You know, this isn't Joshua's first time doing a spoof fight. He fought Francis. That was a spoof fight. Francis had never won boxing before, but we understood he has fought before. It was one of those things where when you got through it, like coming into the front side, I'm sure Anthony Joshua trained plenty hard for it. But coming out the back, he probably realized I didn't need to train for that at all. That was fun. That was a good time. I got to hear him call my names. I got to go out there. I got to be light on my feet. I got to lay on these combinations and then cut an interview and pump my hands over my shoulders like I accomplished something. What dreams are made of. And so Joshua did one of those fights. It was with Francis, and this is a completely different kind of that type of fight, but it's still that fight nonetheless. Jake Paul has abilities to win this fight. A lot of them involved moral victories. A lot of them involved getting out of the first round. And a lot of them would involve getting out of the first 2 rounds and haven't been knocked down yet. One would be getting out of the 3rd round. You've only been on the canvas once and you got up to your feet, you shook it off and you're ready to keep going. Like, these things are all victories, but the fight that it's going to happen, I think it's a big deal for Jake Paul. I think it's a big deal for everybody involved. I think it's a big deal that Francis looks at that fight and realizes, oh, these things make sense. These things that make dollars, they make sense. That's his business. This was his opportunity that he missed out on. And now Joshua's gonna have a lot of fun. And overall, I see the fight being one-sided. And people keep saying, well, slow down, wait till you hear what all of the rules under exhibition.
Broadcast personalities Adam Catterall and Nick Pete also reacted after the fight's confirmation. They acknowledged the massive excitement surrounding the event, but stressed that both fighters must treat the match as a serious, professional contest. Reports suggest that Joshua may choose to control his power rather than go all out, signaling a measured, strategic approach. Catterall and Pete highlighted that this puts dual responsibility on both men. Paul gains a significant platform and learning experience, while Joshua must maintain professionalism and credibility to ensure the fight remains both safe and respectable.
We're being told from those people that this is a fully professional boxing contest. I'd like to see the small print, to be totally honest with you, but that's what we're being told. We're being told that it's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. We're being told that they're going to use 10-ounce gloves, which are far too fucking small for Anthony Joshua to hit you in the face with when you're there. Listen, Jake's a good novice. Jake's a good novice.
Oh, yeah.
And if he wanted to have a legitimate career in boxing, then he would climb the domestic rankings in America, and he might even make top 50. He might make top 50 if you pick him right, great. But if you put him in with meritocracy and put him in rankings and actually make him fight the number 49 guy in America or try and climb up, he's going to get found out because he's a nutter novice. Now I know, I speak from experience here. I did an exhibition bout with Shane Neary, a former world champion, and I was fucking 2 or 3 stone bigger than him. I was 5 inches bigger than him, very similar to AJ and Jake Paul. And I was a novice. I'd boxed, sparred and moved around my whole life, but I'd never been in a competitive fight. And we did it for charity. And we did 3 rounds. And at the end of it, I realised, and I knew it going in, that Shane Neary controlled pretty much every second of those 3 minutes. Pretty much every second he controlled. He put the pressure on me in 1 round. He hit me with the body shot in the 2nd round. And he caught everything I threw at him in the 3rd round when he said, go on, try and knock me out. Caught everything. And, you know, in a similar vein, Anthony Joshua controls every second.
Brendan Schaub, former UFC heavyweight and current analyst, focused on Joshua's mindset going into the bout. He and other experts believe Joshua doesn't see this fight as a traditional competitive threat, simply because his own accomplishments far overshadow Paul's background in entertainment and social media. However, Schaub noted that this doesn't make the matchup unimportant. Rather, it shows Joshua's understanding of the low-risk but high-visibility nature of the event. By avoiding unnecessary aggression, Joshua can control the fight, protect his long-term career, and still deliver the spectacle fans expect.